All right, folks. Welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. We just filmed a great episode on Nino's Corner.tv, and I wanted to do a fluff tube version for my audience here to give them the update of what Juan says is coming. Should we say potentially coming or is coming, Juanito?
Oh, let's be safe and say potentially, but I'm pretty comfortable with what's going on here. So go ahead.
Okay. So first, first, folks, there's a lot going on. They've been shell shocked, they've been thrown back, they've been knocked on their butt. They can't believe they lost the election. They're disoriented, but they are going back to the drawing board right now and figuring out a way uh to make sure Trump doesn't achieve coming into office. And before we get into that, we're gonna talk about their plans very vaguely on FluffTube because folks, that's the way it is on YouTube. But first, we partnered with Gundry MD to share this information with you. Would you believe me if I told you inside your pantry right now is one of the healthiest foods on the planet? Yep, it's true, and it's not some weird, trendy superfood. Spoiler alert, it's olive oil. You're probably used to cooking with it, but there are countless ways to use olive oil to help yourself look and feel better, folks, and younger. For example, olive oil is a natural way to help you achieve a more youthful appearance. Besides helping you look younger on the outside, it's a fantastic tool for your insides as well. According to Dr. Stephen Gundry, a famous cardiothoracic surgeon, nutrition expert, and health advocate, you should get as much high quality olive oil into your daily routine as possible, whether it's making a shot, taking it a shot daily, or keeping a bottle of it in your bathroom medicine cabinet. But what kind of olive oil is best for you? Well, any olive oil can give you some benefits, but if you're looking to get the best results, it matters a lot which one you pick. The olive oil industry is huge. You can tell by the number of olive oil brands you see at the grocery store, and you can bet they're not all made with the consumer in mind. And many brands may even cut corners one way or another to increase profits. Dr. Gundry came to this realization and was appalled, but some olive oils are so powerful, it may only take a few tablespoons a week to keep these incredible health benefits. So, how can you tell between an olive oil that can be a health booster and which one isn't up to par? In an effort to answer that question, Dr. Gundry has decided to take a stand and release his personal research and findings, folks. The video has gone viral since its release, and it's important you see it so you can start benefiting immediately. Folks, hit the link down below. GetOlive1.com/Nino and get started. It's good stuff. I take it every other day. Juanito, man. So I had a long discussion with you on Nino's Corner.tv, so I kind of understand what's going on now. I didn't want to believe it because I just feel like this is going to be a peaceful transition of power. The momentum is in our favor. Everything seems just glorious right now. I feel like we've got the high ground. Anything they try to do, I just feel is going to fail miserably, but they're still going to try, right? Right, Juanito?
Yeah, and by the way, the olive oil is a really big deal. So, getting a quality one is a big deal. Jen is huge into the correct oils and stuff like that that don't screw your system up. So,
And coconut oil.
yeah, coconut oil. So here's the deal, while it's a little quiet right now, and you've had plenty of great rhetoric, how this is going to be the smoothest transition ever in the history of the country. It's going to be so smooth. Everybody's, hugging and sweet to each other, and it's just going to be glorious. Um, don't count on it. These people are sneaky bastards, and we can be sneaky bastards back. They want to be bastards. Well, let's go kick them in the ass. Uh, they have a plan and they're working it hard. And in the conversations that I'm having behind the scenes, I've seen nothing that says this isn't where it's currently going. The real players are looking, which is an attempt to stop Trump based on the whole Insurrection Act thing. Now,
So hold
remember,
on, Juanito. Do they know they're going to piss off about 90% of the country, but they don't care about that, right?
this is about survival. It's not about feeling.
Yeah.
As far as the people involved on all sides are concerned, uh, look, why do you have rhinos kissing up to the people that are coming out with this administration. How many rhinos said they were going to vote for Kamala? Think about that.
Yeah,
Family.
everybody. People I looked up to, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's so many people out there that were just taking her side. I could not believe it.
And you have to understand that what you're seeing is that they understand this administration will not be like the last administration. This is a grace of God moment. He's been given a reprieve from what was coming that was imminent, as far as I'm concerned, a type of judgment. Now, you don't have to be coming at it from a religious standpoint. I mean, I do, but I think it's not unreasonable to say that something, forces, powers, entities in the universe, whatever you want to say, when a people or a society become somehow self-destructive, take on and move and do things in a way that is ultimately going to, literally destroy human life, the planet, whatever, become accepting of, the types of sacrifice that was where our society, or still is really in some ways, our society is going, that there's some kind of a pushback. We've seen that over time throughout history. The pendulum swings so far, and then it starts to come back. And so there's this hand of God moment. We saw it when the assassinations didn't work. There's other forces, powers in play. And the reason, even though I see it from what I would consider a divine viewpoint, I choose to. There's a lot of people in the audience that they're not bad, they're not horrible or whatever, but they just don't see it that way. Okay, I get it. But still, you can reach a point where things start coming off the rails. And these people that are against the Trump return want to keep going in that direction. And yet the broader population is not good with it. Remember, Trump won not just the popular vote, not just the electoral college vote. He won both of them. Even with all the mischief going on behind the scenes, didn't work. The country's personality is not in sync with where the leadership, both internally and externally. Remember, there's a global crowd that's actually trying to run the way that we go from the outside and puppeteer our players, our leaders, to fit their globalist agenda. That's why they interrupted 71 up until Georgia, now 72 elections in the world to put their leaders into power, not the ones that the people in those countries actually were elected. And we have the video recorded statements of the engineers.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful with this stuff, please.
We have not copies, the original in many cases, that show exactly how this was done, where it was done from, and the countries involved. With that in mind, what you have to kind of think of here, Nino.
Yeah, but Juanito, on this channel, we could just say that we know this could happen, blah, blah. Let's not give details. We'll do that on the back channel.
Okay,
please.
So the long and short of it is that we're in a global fight. A lot of things are about to come to a head, and the revelations won't all be, in a day or a week or a month. There's not like a defined line. It's going to come in waves. And once you have Trump back firmly in control, and that'll take a little bit. Even after he comes back into power, there's going to be challenges that are going to be met. And each of those challengers, like the bull in the bull ring, are going to get taken out. This is a battle to the death, figuratively and literally. And, it's not going to be simple. It's going to be messy, but it's what has to happen to get back on an even keel. And these people aren't going to just walk away. They
I've
can't.
always said that. I've always said that, but I thought, dang, I really thought like something would have happened on the fifth or sixth. I can't believe it's just so eerily quiet. I'm
Oh, well,
it,
Nino, let me just say this. Oh, hold on. We had, there was multiple briefings a day in the last days before the election. It had been like once a week, and then it was every day, and then it was a couple times a day on a specific threat that was pretty, um, pretty advanced. Um, I had, been asked a number of times on it and talked on it privately, and I says, I don't think it's going to happen because there's too many eyes on this. But it's a real possibility. Somebody pulls out a switchblade and starts to go to town, and you have a real street fight. I don't think that that's not still there. Um, the intel on it, I think, was very solid. The question is, when would they play it? And the resources are in place, and the people are in place. I think it's still hanging out there. I mean, they just didn't see an advantage in that window. And this is from a globalist nation state level type of threat, not a just an internal. They're going to try to portray it as patriots attacking America. Dumbasses.
right. And
Uh,
just be vague here, Juanito, please. This is YouTube. And I hate this, and my audience hates me for doing this, and I'm sure the comments will just be going crazy right now. Stop it, Nino. But it
yeah,
just is what it is, you know. We're not in the
yep.
safe zone yet, folks. Believe me. In fact, this is probably the most critical time, isn't it, Juanito?
I would say so. It's the next 5 months or so, 5.5 months that are the most gripping, I think, of everything that we've got coming. Once we're firmly in the saddle here, we're going to be able to go out and start roping and corralling and picking these people off pretty quickly. And um, it's not going to be patty cakes. Uh, it will move pretty swiftly and harshly in most of the situations that are the most threatened. And but think of how many different ways that we are under siege here internally in the country. It's not just within the justice system and the courts, the judges. It's not just in the federal agencies that you're being attacked by internally. It's not just the food and the crap you're being fed that isn't actually food. It's poison. And it's the medical system, the border situation, um, even the products that are coming in and displacing American workers, the job situation. You got multiple huge companies that have gone out of business or are laying people off right this second.
So we have battles
So
on all fronts, on all fronts.
you are under siege at every level. You need, in this kind of a situation, a uh, full spectrum response. And there's certain places that you have to have a breakout area. As I kind of mentioned, I think in the recording that we didn't use, it's similar to the situation when Germany was clearly in its last throes of death, or the German army, um, in the winter of '44, and they staged a winter offensive. They were trying to divide the Allied forces. Nobody saw it coming because they were in such desperate shape. Uh, and so they got prepared, and this became known as the Battle of the Bulge. Only one general saw what was probably going to happen, but didn't have direct intel on it. He just thought, like, what would I do if I was in this situation? I was on the other side. And he started gutting his forces and moving people to anticipate something in the area that he thought it was going to happen. When he got finally briefed on it, And by the way, the movie's pretty exactly what in explaining this in the movie, Pat. It's worthwhile to go back and rewatch it. Extremely well done. By the way, George C. Scott refused to go to any awards ceremony. He knew
Wow.
that was the you know, Satan awards. Okay,
Yeah.
just reverse the letters. You'll see I'm right. So he wanted no part of it. He did such an amazing job in the that. And by the way, there's a the book of his movies, especially later in his life. Uh, every one of them is pretty doggone accurate to a couple of issues behind the scenes. It's amazing. Um, there's a couple of just I look at it and go, man, and even at the time, back in the mid '70s and early '80s, I had guys that were in that zone that I was really mentored by, and they all commented the same thing. He had a some kind of a revelation or something, and he picked movies that were exactly what he wanted to say and be part of. But in this winter offensive that Germany mounted, Patton pivoted, moved more men and equipment further than anybody had ever done in history, and went on the attack because he anticipated the likelihood of what they were going to do. And once we defeated the German army at the Battle of the Bulge, it was just a matter of time. It was relatively short. Had they succeeded at the Battle of the Bulge, then that would have bought them the critical 3 to 4 months that they needed to bring their wonder weapons online. They were so close, and 3 to 4 months difference, you'd have had cities on the East Coast being hit with intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Jeez.
You would have had aircraft that one or two of them could take on 15 or 20 very effectively. They were just getting their sea legs on some of these other technologies.
So, Juanito,
Uh,
would you say that we stormed Normandy? This is D-Day, not V-Day. We got the higher ground. Like, this was a huge win for us, obviously, but we now have the higher ground, correct? I mean, now it's like this is the best place to be in, obviously.
well, there's and you have to be careful trying to over compare one thing to another. But I think all of those illustrations are not wrong. In some ways, what was critical about Normandy, they got a beachhead in a very prickly location where it was had great defenses. Once they got the beachhead, that meant they could and they built these mobile docks to bring in the ships. They could unload armor, vehicles, and men safely and begin to build out in that area. The Germans weren't able to stop that. The problem they had early on, immediately after Normandy, was they couldn't get through what's called the hedgerows. It was still a bit wet, and was not easy to get out of that beach area and get out into open ground where the tanks and vehicles allowed you to move very quickly and push the German army out. They had to have a breakout, and in that situation also, Patton was the one that was called to come in and supervise and manage that. Once they got a lane out of the area and were able to move the men and equipment forward quickly, it became a race. How fast could the Germans back up and retreat coherently, and how fast could our guys attack and bog them down and take prisoners? And so, in this situation that we're in, even right now, there's similarities. Even a move that might not succeed, trying to block Trump from taking office, buys them critical days, weeks, months that they can continue to reorganize,
To devise a plan, a better
trunks,
plan.
and start blocking from certain things that could happen to them.
All right, Juan,
So
let's
it is a
take
race.
this because all this stuff I love how we all the details in this, folks, right? Nino's Corner.tv. Is there anything else you want to say on here, Juanito, that, because I don't want to go too much into detail on that because it gets kind of hot. But what else
Uh,
could we tell the audience? Any other kind of
you know,
updates?
let me just say this. I think this is the relevant part that everybody here will understand. But for the grace of God, we wouldn't be here at this exact moment. There was very specific, we talked about it on the other channel, I won't say it, a thing that was in play, and Americans operating and acting like true Americans in several locations thwarted the uh, attack, and the ballots didn't enter the mail system the way they planned them, that were from outside the country. That's really, really important. That's why we got the win.
Yeah,
Didn't happen like it did 4 years ago,
right.
and
And
we
I
know where it
really
came
don't
from
want
and
to
all
talk
that.
about that on here.
Okay, but let me just finish. So the issue is, uh, there is a divine side to this, as far as I'm concerned. We have a moment of it's like what happened at Nineveh. Other stories in the Bible where they got a reprieve, they got a break, and now we have to move quickly in that zone and not fritter it away, not waste it. So they're going. Let's just anticipate, by whatever means available to the people that are having to retreat before, Trump and MAGA coming in, that they're going to do anything they can to buy time, even if it looks futile and doesn't seem to make sense. They'll still do it to buy time, and they can sacrifice a lot of things along the way, trying to, burn the past behind them. There is going to be needed still some type of hand of God uh, to protect and allow us to continue forward. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. So prayer required.
Okay.
Prayer
All right,
required.
Juanito.
Don't give up like it's just a fait accompli.
I mean, I'm feeling so good right now. Anything they do, in my opinion, Juanito, I don't think there's anything they can do, to be quite honest with you. I know there's options and all that, but I feel like we have the momentum, the morale, the countries. I mean, it's just anything they try is just not going to succeed in my mind. I mean, look at the
Actually, okay, you're hitting on something that let's just take a second longer. I got to get this in your mind. Um, a lot of the audience like attracts like. You know it. I'm not saying anything you don't know. You're a very emotional person, and you feel things. You wear it on your sleeve, and your audience is very similar. I'm telling you and your audience, please, you got to be uh, you got to be in fight mode,
all
and
right.
you can't be all over the place, up and down, based on the news of the minute or the hour. And especially because, remember, just like Trump says fake news all the time and points
Yeah.
at the guys in the press at the various events. If they can get you thrown off your balance with just one little story, one little thing bent and twisted that says what they want to say, not what's really going on. Somebody's being considered for an appointment. Nobody, the Brunson case is going to solve
Oh yeah, yeah.
everything.
Don't even.
It does, right? Give me a break. Don't allow yourself to be played with that way.
I
Get
text Brunson himself, and he told me fake news. The whole
Yeah,
thing, the
he and I
NDA, and
have been together the last couple of days working on something. So yeah, the the reality is, Nino, we can't be that thin. We when you have a seasoned fighter versus somebody that just showed up, the guys that are seasoned they've got the 1,000 yard stare.
right.
They got to be watching out at the wire and not head down and feeding. We're in a wartime condition, and this is far from over. So even keel, keep your wits about you, expect the unexpected from a quarter that you may not have seen coming. Uh, if the markets are way up and everybody's ebullient and everything else, excuse me, the underlying fundamentals are insanely disastrous. Uh, don't drop your guard. Take advantage of these moments where it appears nobody else is concerned and it's all wonderful and everything else. Well, take advantage of those moments because you're about to get another one.
All right, Juanito. Let's cut it there. I'll see you at ninoscorner.tv, folks. Get to ninoscorner.tv. Juan, would you want to be the general in the general's tent again in January?
For sure, I'd love to.
People love you, man. You take your time and you answer all the questions, and everyone loves that, man.
Well, I mean, some stuff doesn't lend itself to a bullet response, and at the very least, I think people need to be able to have enough material to think it through. Just
Can
being told,
I
no, this way, done.
can I ask you just a question though? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
are you surprised at least? Because I mean, I saw the fence getting erected around the White House, and I saw the touch and go exercises with the Blackhawks. I was like, all right, they're getting ready. But are you surprised it turned out this way? Are you at all surprised that it was a landslide and they were able to stop it while it was happening? And I don't want to go into too many details on that, but are you, because you always thought it was going to be a halt?
Well, hold on a second. This is a really
I know what
important
you're going to
point.
say. It's still going to be a halt, is what you're going to say.
Your, I said at the time, I says, it's somewhere in there. It could be before, it could be after election day. But they're going to try to stop the result of this election, and they're going back to 2020.
Okay.
If, as I've described to you, the way that they are going to try to stop the Trump
Let's be
being
very
seated,
careful here,
I'm being
Juanito,
careful, I'm being
please.
careful, Trump being seated, then they're going to make it all about 2020 again.
And then that comes to bite them
That's
in
the
the
whole point.
ass.
Well, again, if they're going to make it about 2020, we're ready. If they're dumbass enough to make this about the 𝗂𝗃 situation and the lead up to that, uh, don't be surprised when we weren't quite caught as off guard as you thought we'd be. We're not
Okay.
done. We
All right.
anticipated, they anticipated, let's go to war.
All right, folks. Get thejennifermack.com. I'll put the link down there in the description below. Really nice silver coins. You have any on you, Juanito? Sure
I
you do.
don't. I actually gave away the last two coins that I had on me.
I have an idea, by the way,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
your coins.
yeah.
I'll tell you off camera.
All right. The
All
Nino
right.
hand wringer coin.
No, but I have an idea. I have
All
an idea. I have a great idea. All right, folks. I'll see you over at ninoscorner.tv later.
right. Thanks, bro.